Logan, we're talking about
Yeah.
the scene with Bonnie now, by the way.
Okay,
When
sorry,
they're loading
sorry,
the
sorry about that.
magazine.
I'm back. Yeah.
But she had to like apologize in all her scene all the time for me to even trust her a little bit.
Mhm.
So it was
Yeah.
it's very deep down.
I want
Yeah.
Logan to say something about this. We've been waiting.
About the scene with Bonnie.
Yes.
This is where her discussion with me was where my plan started coming into focus of how how we were going to be able to escape.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because the way I saw it was, as we already saw with the fence and the ladder, just running probably was not going to be an option. Muscling our way through with machine guns on the other end of things probably wasn't going to be an option. But the discussion with Bonnie and some of the things she mentioned about Tavia and Carver, I immediately said my plan to action was the only possible way at the time, before all the Walker thing later. So I ran up here.
Okay.
My plan was to turn people against Carver.
Mm.
Because if we
Mhm.
could, because if we got Bonnie, if we got Top, if we could get people against Carver, he'd be nothing.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't expect to get all of us. And so that's why throughout that conversation with Bonnie, I tried twisting words. I did everything I could to convince her that Carver was messed up.
Mm-hmm.
If she says something like, "Oh no, he's misguided," I would immediately say, "He killed our friend."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I did say that.
and I just kept like increasing the amount of uncertainty in her words, and if because I didn't believe that she actually really believed a lot of what she was doing was right or anything like that.
Yeah.
She tried to make up for what happened at the lodge.
The thing about me and Bonnie is that I totally agree that her intentions are good. And her intentions, I think, consistently have been good. She doesn't want people to get hurt. She wants what's best for people.
Yeah.
She doesn't want people to be fighting. The problem I have with her character, and this is something that I not only saw in 400 Days, but I continue to see throughout this season, is that she's very impressionable. And that she is very easily swayed. And I think the reason why it was harder for me to trust Bonnie is because, yes, I can probably sway her to my side, but depending on the specific circumstances, whoever happens to be in control of the situation can easily pull her back. And
You think that she could easily betray you guys again?
yeah, so because she can be very flaky and she can be a very flaky and wishy-washy person, I think. And and it's not because she wants to betray you, it's just because she feels that she doesn't have much of a choice or doesn't feel that she's able to fight back and just kind of has to go with whatever will allow her to be safe or to be in good graces with whoever happens to be in control at that time. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Hark. I didn't trust her just because I felt that she was not in a state of mind to be trusted, I guess, and plus I didn't want to, there were options to let her into information about what was going on, and I never told her because
I didn't either.
I was so concerned about the plans being ruined, so I just didn't tell anyone, if I could help it.
Yeah.
So.
Now, sorry,
Yeah,
I
'cause I-
disconnected, by the way. Sorry, I disconnected.
Oh.
I do want to actually mention something that I'm not sure if viewers will understand when they say impressionable. Would you elaborate that after I finish my lecture part? Oh, go ahead.
I'm not sure if I'm using the word properly, but I guess what I was trying to say is that she can be easily influenced by people. She can be convinced to do things that she may not normally think is right, or she might not is not normally comfortable with. And
She's dependent. She seems dependent on other people.
Yes,
like if someone
very
told her it
dependent.
was for the greater good, she would believe
just
them.
like
and
she was with Leland, just like, because she saw it in Leland too, that she said she was very dependent on him. And actually Leland's wife as well, she was also dependent on both of them. And so when I guess she ended up with the 400 Days group, she found some people to clutch onto, and then Tavia shows up and offered something in her eyes that was better, and she was willing to drop the rest of the 400 Days crew to follow this stranger, to follow Tavia, because in her head Tavia had a much more convincing argument, and so she left them, like she did in my LP. She left them behind and went with Tavia.
Yeah. And I feel like yeah, she can be easily swayed on some things, and she's always trying to look for what's better for the condition. I think that she's meant to be more of a follower than a leader, and she's always going to be stuck in that follower position. And when it came to me talking to Bonnie, I tried to like just be truthful with her, like saying, look, Carver is to blame. He's not a good guy. We can already see this. I do not think this guy is going to actually be like a good guy ever. And the only way he could ever be a good guy to me is, let's say, let's say a million zombies are around me, and just Carver just rushed in and grabbed me and just got me out of it. Then I'll believe otherwise. But until then, I don't think he is a good guy. And he's like, I'm saying, he killed Walter. Yeah. And I'm trying to be like truthful with her. I'm not trying to twist the words. I mean, if she's starting to think I'm twisting her mind and trying to win her over, then so be it. But I'm telling her like what's straight up, what's really behind the mirror.
Yeah.
And I just found it like she always has good intentions and wants to do good things, but she's surrounded by bad people sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I think she needs. She really needs to be around good people, and then maybe she can like stay with that good people. And if she doesn't and still keeps going back and forth, then we obviously see what's going on.
But would you consider her to be like a victim of circumstances at times, or that it's still her decisions to follow these people, or if she's just being pressured into it?
Like, what do you mean by the first part of what you said?
Victim of circumstances, like,
yeah.
Do you think that it's more that do you side alongside her in the fact that it's not entirely her fault that she does what she does? It's more or less like the people around her pressuring and shaping her to like peer pressuring her to do it, or do you believe that there is probably some part of her that sees nothing wrong with this, that she's unimpressionable in this, that she doesn't feel anything by default about that?
I want to say both, really. I feel like she's a little bit at fault to this because she knows what they're doing is bad, and she's surrounded by these bad people, and that her impression is that she wants to try and handle things the right way or the good way, but when, let's say, somebody else jumps in and handles it like as the boss would, like Carver would, then those intentions are thrown out the window, and she just goes along with it because she knows she'd be in trouble.
It's easier to fix something that's broken than to try to start over. I think that's what she says.
Yeah, she does say that. And I want to ask this, and I don't know. I want to hear David and Logan's opinion. Actually, no, wait. Scratch Logan. Scratch Logan.
What? Whoa, wait, hell, back up. Wait, what?
Well, we all know who's most important here now, Logan.
Hey, man, I'll get there on YouTube one day, and then
I just want to know what everybody's...
If I put on the smart glasses, would it better?
Maybe. I would have to grab my smart glasses, too, but they're like maybe 3.
You need the beard. You need the deep beard, too, Logan.
Okay, hang on. Let me get that.
Uh-oh.
What I'm saying is that I want to know what's everybody's opinion on the jacket. I personally liked it. I thought it was a pretty cool jacket. I loved it.
One ugly jacket. Oh, man.
Nope. I love it, Lucky Jack.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, awesome beard. Excuse me? There we go. Now I'll just put on my smart glasses.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God. I can't look at you, Kathleen, like that. I can't look at you.
I can't. I'm sorry. I keep thinking of It because I saw that movie like 2 days ago.
Oh.
For some reason.
Don't even talk to me about
Yeah, Kathleen's being very angelic right now. Okay, focus back, guys. Focus back. David was about to... David, the one whose opinion matters the most, was about to share it with us.
Obviously.
The jacket, I loved it, but David says he hates it.
Yeah.
No, not my colors. Too fluffy.
Yeah.
You don't like the rainbows?
Nope. Too many colors.
Oh God. I think it was really nice though of Bonnie to like give her like something. I think to me it was a gift. Like she's showing some kind of kindness. She's showing some kindness to me that she wants to be friends and she wants us to get along.
Mm-hmm.
And she presented me a gift that you can't really ignore or turn down because you're like, if I turn this down, do I feel like a dick then? And if I do take it, even if it looks ugly, am I an even bigger dick? Say, yeah, I like it. I like it.
Maybe I'm reading into this a little too much because I tend to do that. But when Clementine gets the jacket, the expression on her face is one of awkwardness. Like, and I feel like the reason why she feels awkward accepting the jacket is because back in season 1, if you give Clementine the hoodie, I think, the hoodie or the jacket from the abandoned car.
You can. I did.
Yeah, you can.
Did anyone here do that so we could like, did anyone here give her the jacket to see if she would be more accepting of it in this part?
I did.
Okay.
I did for sure.
What was her, did anything unique about her reaction?
I think her reaction was like even when she was beginning is like she didn't want it because it's somebody else's,
Right?
And it would be stealing it because it's wrong. And you said you need, and I'm telling her like, look, Clem, you need this in order to survive. If we find the person, I think this is what I might have said. If we find the person, we'll give it back to them.
Mm-hmm.
She's like thinking like she's holding on to it until they find them.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was thinking that might have brought back some really ill memories because. And I did give her the hoodie. Yeah, I did give her the hoodie in my playthrough, and for me, my interpretation was that doing so bit her in the butt later on and got her kidnapped, amongst other things. But I don't know. I might just be reading into it a little bit too much. But
and me, I took the sweater from Bonnie because again, I wanted her to like me.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Right. And you explained why. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I took the sweater and pretended to like it because I wanted to, keep her close and make her think that I wasn't suspicious of everyone. I don't know.
Yeah.
So you personally didn't like the sweater then?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, the colors were really. I didn't know like.
Kathleen and I, we can't stand rainbows.
Despite the rainbow.
We can't stand. Yeah, I know.
I like rainbows. But...
Oh no, everyone will think I'm like anti-gay.
I liked it. Why am I the only one who liked the sweater? I personally liked it.
I just didn't like the. I was alright with the rainbow. I thought the blue contrast. Why are we doing this?
I mean, even though games like rainbows, it doesn't mean that we don't have fashion.
Yes.
It's a zombie apocalypse. We can't care about fashion.
No, we can't. We will make time, Carson, to discuss this sweater and its ugliness.
Yes.
Okay? We will make time.
Before we move on to what happens next in the greenhouse, I forgot to mention that for those of you who did get them to follow Tavia, you run into Shell and Becca on your way to Bonnie. Overall, how did you guys feel about the way that Telltale used the other 5 characters in the 400 Days DLC besides Bonnie? How did you feel about their use in this episode?
I feel like one of them had a new voice actor. One of their voices didn't sound right.
Okay.
Really?
The guy,
Russell?
I forget his name. Russell, yeah. I think Russell had a new voice actor in this one. But other than that, Shell and Becca, their personalities seem different. Like
I think all their personalities seem different.
Shell and Becca were having an argument, like acting hostile towards me, which did not seem in their character to me when I was playing their chapter at all.
Mm-hmm.
And what's his face? Sorry, with the beard.
What?
And Wyatt
One looks like David.
Yeah.
David, have you been talking to the developers?
But Wyatt seemed to still keep his whole dude, like, just chill out sort of personality, but it's very different when you see him carrying an automatic weapon.
Yes.
It puts in a very different light. And I'm like, dude, and he's like trying to act all tough. It's like, you ran away. You couldn't even. It's like, it's very good. I think that I got to see an actual bit of like who they really are, what they were really like in 400 Days. Otherwise, I would have just treated them like normal, like just like Troy, or just like other passerbys, but actually knowing how they got there.
For me, it just felt very tacked on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, it's Wyatt, and he's gone.
Yeah.
Cameo.
And I'm like,
cameo.
okay,
Yeah.
so So I think that it might have they might have had more potential.
Yeah.
Doing some other things. I think you see Shell just talking to Becca, and like a really quick conversation, and that's it. I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
that's all.
It would have been nice to have at least one character that was still kind of pleasant, but they're all like, I feel like I didn't like any of the characters. Like, I was like, oh man, I hate them now. So.
I think I said that in my LP. Like, is everyone like super evil now? Cause
and I felt bad. Like, well, I imagine it's probably a programming aspect or something. But like, I wanted to have more in-depth conversations with them, like what you did with Bonnie. I wanted to have that with the other characters and not just the pass and go things. And the way the episode ends out, it makes me feel as if we may not see them again. Like that was it. That was their cameo in this season. Was just that.
But I guess it's just too much work to put all of that in. Maybe.
It could. Yeah. Probably.
My biggest criticism for this episode was I was pretty disappointed in how they handled those characters from 400 Days. I think that Telltale had a good potential of making that matter a little bit more than just a few seconds cameo piece that they just showed up because Telltale was like, oh look, your choices mattered. Here, they're here in this. You see them here, and now you don't see them anymore ever again in this episode. So I think that I agree with Lucky Jack that it would have been nice to at least have the option of being able to converse with them and at least find out what's happened to them since you last saw them, because you spent the 400 Days DLC getting to know these characters a little bit, and then you fast forward to now, and there's just a lot of questions about how they got to where they are, it doesn't have to affect the overall plot in a sort of way. So I think that it could have added a little bit more resources, but I don't think it needed to add that many more resources to it if it wasn't going to be critical to the events of the story. So.
For me, here's the question. Was it my first reaction or my later think about action? Because if you saw my Let's Play, you know what my reaction was, Angel Arts. You know what my action was. I was like, Lorgasm! Oh my god, oh my god, I'm so happy!
Yeah, it's more overall, like, how did you feel how well do you feel they utilized those characters overall?
When I think about, like, when it's 400 days, like, even in my Let's Play, when I showed it, I still chose them to go with the camp and everything, with Tavia. But what I found really curious was, like, okay, I know Shell is not a bad person. She has good morals from what I, interpreted in 400 Days. What threw me off is, I could understand his sister. What is his sister's name again? What's his sister's name?
Becca.
Oh, Rebecca.
Yeah,
Becca. She was already like on the edge, like you have to act tough and gotta get rid of all these people, get rid of killers, bad people, backstabbers, betrayers, all that stuff. But I started to question, like, what happened to Shell? Like, she's changed a little bit too, and so did Wyatt, and so did Vince, and so did Russell. Like, what has happened during, like, the timeline that changed these good people into, like, some hardcore cold people? Well, I didn't interpret that from Shell when I was hearing the conversation. She was still a little bit of a good person. But like Hark said, I was very disappointed. I wanted to talk to them. Maybe, like, have at least 2 conversation, dialogues I wanted to hear. Like, you click on something and you're like, oh, I see. That's what's going on. Then you talk to another one, you're like, really? And then you start to see what's really been happening and why they had to change in a way.
As opposed to just 2 aside statements or so being said.
Exactly.
And now, I guess, still too quickly on the topic of the 400 Days implementation, since I saved them all, did some of you guys who did not save some of them, did you hear or see any of them in this episode at all? No, none of that?
Bonnie was the only one who went to Tavia with me. Everybody else stayed behind. Okay. So I did not see I didn't see any of the cameos at all.
Okay.
And they didn't even mention them in passing.
No.
Where they were.
No mention whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay, that's a bit.
And I'm thinking this is just me here. If they are already planning something like with the other 400 Day characters that, like, and I'm gonna say it, that didn't leave, or not there, like at Carver Town, I have a strange feeling that either A, will pop up later.
I hope so.
B, you get a chance to actually talk with them in the future, or C, like if for Hark's Angel Arts case that didn't go to Carver Town at all, you'll see them where they actually are later on in the future. And I want to see something
Yeah,
like that.
I definitely think that it would be awesome for Telltale to not penalize people because they happen to have not had certain ones, go with Tavia. I think that it would be awesome if maybe in the next episode we run into the ones that didn't go with Tavia, even if it's seeing them as walkers, even if we see them dead. That's fine, because then you kind of know what happened to them.
Nothing wrong with that.
So
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, your actions still had an effect on the story.
right.
I wouldn't mind putting a bullet between Rebecca. Sorry, Rebecca.
Oh gosh.
Oh.
It's for the good of humanity.
So we talked to Bonnie.
We
and
talked
then
to Bonnie.
Bobby calls us back.
Yes.
And we go to the greenhouse.
Now
is
we
it?
go to the greenhouse. Yeah. So.
All right, I got
Oh,
the poll
boy.
ready when you want to hear it.
Okay. Oh wait, what was the first poll? Or was that the first poll?
Oh, the first poll. Yeah, it is the first poll. As of today, and this recording, and as it's showing me,
Yeah.
the poll says it's if you helped Sarah, it's the majority.
Yeah.
It's 78%. I'm still rounding it.
Yeah.
And the minority, which was Hark,
Yes.
was 22%.
Yep, I was in the minority.
I'm just putting you out there.
Well, one of us always has to be the minority, and one thing that's
I am a
podcast
heartless
here.
person, apparently.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree that Hark
I-
is a monster.
No, I totally get why you did it
Yeah.
now, and I there are no wrong answers.
Yeah, but I in my case it was this. Like I wanted to help Sarah because I felt like as long as nobody comes and checks us, maybe when Reggie is done with his work, when we're done with Sarah, we can go and do my work and we can quickly do it before someone comes and checks it out. But when Carver shows up and my work is done, I'm like, oh shit, this is not going to end well. This is going to end bad. This is going to end bad. And that's when I saw what happened, and I was like, oh,
hmm
I shouldn't have helped Sarah. What would have happened then?
No, you continue first.
And then I was like, okay, so what would have happened if I didn't help Sarah? And that's when I peeked into Angel Arts' videos, and I was like, oh, so I was pretty much helping. When it comes to agriculture and landscaping, it's better. I'm pretty much better helping Sarah than watching these plants die and suffer like that.
The poor plants.
The poor plants. No!
The plants did nothing. They were
They did
the
nothing.
innocent. They were the innocent party in this argument.
Yeah, exactly. Kill the dead ones. We must root out the bad ones. What I was shocked is how Carver reacted to Reggie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he basically that was like the straw that broke the camel's
Yeah.
back for him.
I wasn't so much surprised as like, okay, I think I said everything I want to say about this when he shoved him off the roof.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
Yep.
sure thing, Mr. Psycho.
Yeah, sure thing, Mr. Psycho.
Whatever you say, that's okay.
Yeah, I think that was more about, again, like bringing it back to his authority and kind of scaring the girls because
Yeah.
like life is so expendable to him that he was like, hey, I'm gonna kill this guy that's already been annoying me just to freak out these little
Yeah.
girls, just kind of scare them into, because as he says later, like he knows what Clementine's kind of capable of, and that Clementine is capable of like resisting him.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, and
Sorry.
I was just gonna say he was trying to make a point. He was trying to teach the girls a lesson because again he sees them as the next generation, and he's pretty much trying to impose his personal idea of how the world needs to work on them, and by shocking them, because sometimes that's one of the best ways to really get something into your head for better or for worse.
And everyone's been desensitized to that, because I remember, like, if you're walking back down there and you see his body, Troy is just as dismissive of it as Carver is,
Yeah.
man.
I honestly have to say, like, I really was sad that Reggie died, and I even said in my last part of the video, I dedicate this video to Reggie and Carlos and all those who died.
Yeah.
I was actually more worried with Sarah when Carver said, girls, why don't you go step outside? I want to
Yeah.
have a little talk with Reggie. I saw Sarah walking very quietly to the edge. I was like, Sarah, what are you doing? What are you doing? Come back
Yeah.
here.
Oh yeah, I thought
I
that
thought-
too.
I thought maybe she's gonna jump off or something.
Yeah.
I was super
Yeah.
worried. I was like, Sarah, come here. Boom. Oh.
Yeah.
And that's when I saw Reggie. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
shit.
Actually, I have a
Okay.
question for you, Hawk.
Okay.
So you decided not to help
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
and this was before you know that even if you help her, Reggie dies.
Yes.
So how did you feel saying like, no, I'm not going to help her, and because of that, Reggie dies? Did you like, oh crap, I made the wrong choice, or do you think like,
I definitely, well, one of the things I said during my LP when it happened was I said, oh, I think that was my fault. I think that Reggie dying was my fault.
Oh.
Because I wasn't sure if he died anyway. Like, I assume, I mean,
yeah,
because I mean, I was trying not to think of it as a video game. So when that happened, that was my immediate thought. But I mean, as Clementine, she can't save everybody. Like, she can't.
No.
Carver's gonna do what Carver's gonna do, and most of the time, Clementine's gonna be powerless without help. So,
Yeah.
Or without a pistol.
even though I immediately felt guilty about Reggie getting killed, I mean, I didn't think that it was right for me to blame myself for it, because Clementine didn't kill Reggie, Sarah didn't kill Reggie, Carver killed Reggie, and that's the whole thing.
Yeah, that is.
can't blame yourself for the actions of a madman.
Right, Carver is trying to justify his actions, and he's trying to, if anything, any fingers that could possibly point towards him, he would be able to deflect and like send the blame to somewhere else, or just
He would just cut them off.
yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty much. I think he's trying to put his own personal will on like Sarah and Clem, and saying, "This is the world now. This is how I envision people have to be. You need to be like this, or you're gonna end up like Reggie."
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's
Plus,
Go
sorry,
ahead.
I just want to say, plus, like, if they thought that they could change the situation by their actions, that would give him what he wanted.
Mhm.
Like, he wants them to believe that if they do the right thing, that they'll appease him, and like surrendering themselves to that will just be like drinking the Kool-Aid,
Yeah.
like
They'll be ready.
Reggie did.
Yeah.
One thing that Telltale does all the time, and I can't stand Telltale when they do this to me, and I say that with love, because they totally fooled me in this one. But they with the voice actor who voice acted Reggie, Telltale on their channel, they did this whole like this episode special, where they were interviewing the comedian.
The guy.
And because of that, I was thinking, oh, cool, this is going to be like a new main character. He's going to stick around for a couple episodes, maybe. And then when he didn't even last like the first third of the episode, I was like, really, Telltale? Really? Like,
they're eccentric at times.
Really?
I will give them that.
I
Go
mean,
the extra mile.
like, first of all, he was a celebrity cameo, but
Yeah.
also, like, did you really? I didn't expect him to live very long because of his personality.
Oh,
You
okay.
know?
And
the funny guy always has to die first, and I'm screwed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
And perhaps the
Well, you
fact
can
that
be
he is
funny and-
missing an arm.
Yeah.
Omid lasted a few episodes, you know.
He was a nice guy.
He
yeah.
lasted a few
And he
episodes.
had both arms.
And he did.
And
have
I still will remember Angel Arts' reaction.
to-
It was still funny as hell. I'm sorry.
No.
It's a sad scene, but it was funny how you reacted
Yeah.
to it.
Now,
Yeah, and Umid is Troy now, right?
Yes,
Yes.
I did not hear that.
wait, what? Oh, wait, Omid's actor.
Omid's voice actor
Omid-
is also Troy.
He was Troy.
Oh,
Oh, my
yeah.
gosh, I did not.
No,
I
me
love
neither.
it.
Did not.
Thing, I love when they do that.
It was in that greenhouse. I forgot something, and I realized it right when I thought of Sarah. I was thinking, she was like in a fetal position in the greenhouse.
They're
Like,
crying.
she was crying. I could hear it, and I was like thinking, how do I move to this girl? Do I toughen her up and say deal with it, or do I move sympathetically? But then I was thinking, yeah, maybe when you get slapped really hard and a girl's crying, maybe you should be a little sympathetic at that point. So I warmed up to her and I was like saying, look, your dad didn't want to hit you, Although in my head I'm thinking, it better your dad than Troy.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, Carver was the one who told him. She's thinking, yeah, it hurt like hell and everything. And I'm thinking, yeah, she is like a sad little girl.
Yeah.
And actually, I think that was the one. It was interesting because that was like the one choice that I think reflected, like, of the 4 options that was given, that was the one that reflected what I would naturally say the most, which was, "Do you want a hug?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I said
So
that.
because I've done that because I've had friends in really bad spots, and that's one of the first things I of course I ask. Don't just make the assumption, but I always just ask, "Do you need a hug?" Or something like that, and that was, I don't know why, just the fact that that option was there, like, sort of. That's just a silly thing on me, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, I picked the same thing, so.
I like the response. Okay, I owe you one. You're not gonna know when it'll come. Got you covered.
My approach with Sarah is I tried to be supportive to her, and I mean, I was trying to do both. I was trying to toughen her as well as being supportive to her because I wasn't condoning at all what Carver did. But at the same time, I was trying to get through to her that you need to be tough, and there are things that you can do to prevent these awful things from happening. And because, she was talking, that was what really frustrated me, is it's not like Sarah, this is her first time being in Carvertown. Sarah's been in Carvertown before, so I would think of all people, she would know better by now. Clementine, who has been in Carvertown, this is her first time, she picked up quick. Like, she knows not to talk while Carver's talking to you. And so I guess I'm not trying to say that it's necessarily, Sarah, it's your fault that you got smacked because you were asking for it. It was more like, Sarah, you can prevent certain things from happening. This is a really horrible world and horrible things happening, but there are things that you can do to prevent them from happening. So
I told her that there's a way to control pain, not get hurt as much.
Yeah.
I think that also might show that, how I theorized that she'd been through a lot and that had kind of made her, like, digress.
Regress,
Like, it's like,
Regress,
yeah, you know what I'm saying. Regress to a, like, earlier state. And I think that, her way of dealing with pain is obviously to retreat and to go back. And I don't know if she'll overcome that.
Yeah.
It doesn't look likely.
Not in these future episodes.
Yeah.
Probably.
No. But I'm just hoping that if, like, for those who sympathize for her, you can understand that you're trying to help her grow, and but like, what if you do too much, like what Carlos is doing, you sympathize too much or coddle her, then I think that plays a role in, like, how Sarah is now. But like what Kathleen says, I think it might have been like, Carvertown was not a really good place, that after all these bad stuff is happening, it may have had an effect on her. As I'm thinking.
So we have left the greenhouse. Reggie unfortunately made his very quick exit, and now we end up running into Bonnie.
Yes, Bonnie.
Why don't you start us off, Carson?
I just think that she seems like she's having a normal time. She seems fine, happy. Like, oh, I want you to do this chore for me. It's it's just bring this bucket over to people, and then you have an option like, are you okay? You're like, do I tell her or do I not tell her? And I chose to tell her. It's like, look, Carver killed Reggie, and I think you have the right to know, Missy, because you apparently respect and worship this guy. You should know what you're getting yourself into, and when I was very surprised how she reacted. She's like, okay, bring this bucket over to people, you tell no one about this, and I'm going to go take a look at it. I was like, am I winning her over now? And
again, I was working well on my plan at that point, yeah.
That's your plan. But, yeah, I think it's just like we said earlier, Bonnie's intentions are always good, and I don't think she always intends to do bad things.
Yeah.
So I think, like, when you tell it that this bad thing has happened, I don't know what the other options would have been like if you chose Reggie fell or I'm okay, but I think you would be winning her over, and she'd be like, yeah, I think Bonnie actually is a good guy trying to fix it from within. But she's not doing a very good job from what I'm seeing.
I think Bonnie is the kind of girl that wants to believe that everyone can be good. She acts very much in denial when you first say that Reggie's dead. Oh, maybe it was an accident.
Yeah.
So she wants to believe that Carver is a good man.
Yeah.
But of course, again, the seed of doubt. You start seeing that she's coming around, which brings me back a bit to what Hawk said before, that she's easily influenced.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like, okay, I can see where this is going.
Yeah, and your betray me once and it's over thing is fading away.
Yeah, because she has constantly from that point apologized. I think like 3 or 4 times.
I'm sorry.
She really felt bad
She's a
about it.
kind of honest person. But even at the end, where you get the choice to tell her about Luke and stuff like that, it's still a leap of faith from my part.
Yeah.
So it's still not like, okay, I trust you completely, but getting there slowly.
And the others?
I didn't trust her.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't tell her.
Okay.
I was trying to decide. Like I said, I was a little bit indecisive throughout this whole part of the game, and I wasn't sure if I could trust her, and I felt like it wasn't worth the risk. Like I felt there might be a part of her that really cared, and but I felt it wasn't worth the risk in case she was just working for Carver and trying to earn my trust.
Mm-hmm.
So
The Reggie killed Carver part or the other scene?
just like Bonnie in general.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And Lucky Jack, did you have any thoughts and any extra thoughts from what you've already said before, or you pretty much already said it?
Nah, but pretty much
Okay.
a combination of what you guys were all talking about.
Yeah.
I would just be restating something.
Yeah, and I already talked about Bonnie too. So we now are moving on to Clementine, bringing something over to Mike and Kenny, who are trying to patch up a wall. This is really when you start to get to know Mike a little bit more, starting to see what he's all about. They get into this argument. You can tell them about Reggie, and then you get into our combat scene.
Coming by surprise a bit. Oh, can I just mention that I can tell that an episode is gonna be really good as far as like the human personal connections. When I literally was thinking in my mind when I was walking out there, literally having it be, oh yeah, there's still zombies. That's
right. This is a zombie
okay.
apocalypse. That's right.
That moment you forget for a second that there are still zombies. It's like, oh.
Well, because there's a greater threat at this moment.
Of
You
course,
feel
yeah.
like
and but yeah, I was so absorbed in all of this carpet, I forgot they were walkers. They surprised me. I was like, oh yeah.
again, it's back to the whole theme that Walking Dead often tries to throw at you, is that the zombies are not necessarily the biggest threat in the zombie apocalypse. It's other people, other humans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we've learned that the hard way always.
Yeah.
But I hated that zombie combat scene because I got screwed over. Like that hold A button. I don't know if anybody else.
Me too.
I got screwed over that.
But what do you want me to do here?
Yeah,
I'm holding
yeah.
A.
Yeah,
What
because
do you want me to do?
that got me up. That I had to because you have to let go, then hit it again. Cause
Yeah.
you factor it overlapping. I was like, dang it.
Yeah.
For me, it was like holding down the left button because you don't really need that mechanic at all. And I was just like, what the hell? And I kept dying. But other than that, I thought the cinematics of that scene were fantastic. The part where she's fighting the walker and that light is flickering the whole time.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. That was a great cinematic scene. Like, I loved that.
Oh, I didn't do that. I got the screwdriver and killed the zombie.
Yeah, me too. But still.
Yeah.
Oh,
same
wait,
here.
did anyone else get that?
I got the screwdriver as well.
I
It was so cool.
I got it.
It's like,
You and
okay, then
Angel.
Kathleen,
then
I
I'll
got
watch
it. I got that
and I'll
one.
watch one of your guys' Let's Plays. And I'll watch your guys' Let's Plays and see that. But I just went for the first thing that I saw.
Well, I'm gonna let you two know that my friend, his name's Jose. He actually did move the cable and got the little light scene. So I got to see that firsthand. I was like, God damn, that is epic. God,
Yeah.
why did I choose that? Oh well.
It got very intense. And then
I also chose the sledgehammer.
who ends up rescuing you but Troy? Begrudgingly, however. It was at this moment in the game where I'm not going to bring up any spoilers to the TV show plots, but immediately Troy started reminding me of season 1 Daryl Dixon for some reason.
Yeah.
So that was
No. I like Daryl, and I don't like this guy.
well, I didn't.
The moment I saw Troy save us, I was thinking, where the hell is Kenny and Mike? I would like it
Yeah.
if you saved me over this asshole, but all right, I'll take whatever I can. I'll take whatever I can. And I just was so out. Well, I was happy that he saved me, but I was thinking, where the hell are the other two guys? Like, really?
I mean, apparently they were preoccupied with...
Properly
occupied.
Yeah.
But, and I was nice to see that he wouldn't just he wasn't going to be cruel, or he was at least pragmatic enough to not just watch me die. He still saw use in me.
Right, exactly.
So he sent me on my way. I was like, yeah, okay, I'm going to go now. No.
Yeah, and he's like, he acts like he's like, I don't know if you guys, like, if I can use this reference in history, like a history reference, like you can think of it like the Egyptians and the Jewish people doing the Egyptian people were enslaving the Jewish people. They were saying that, God, now I gotta crack the whip every time you guys can't do it. He acts like he's like a slave master almost, like even from the South. And I'm thinking, well, obviously this is the South, but God, you act like you're an overlord or something over Kenny and Mike, which could be actually racial since Mike is black.
I don't know if I saw that necessarily. I think I saw it more as he was treating them like prisoners, which is something that Tavia brings up later. It's hard to think of them not as prisoners. So I think that's what I got out of that, at least.
I got the idea of like I mentioned earlier, like a gulag. It was like a gulag prison there, and it was really not a good prison there. So,
So, yes. So Clementine leaves, and then somebody grabs her. They get into a little struggle, and then I start to squee. At least that was my experience. I don't know about your experience, but that was fun.
I don't know. I have to see your Let's Play still, David, on that part. But the moment the mysterious person grabbed me, I screamed like a little girl, like, "Oh no! No!"
Oh,
I was freaking out, and right when I saw who it was, I was like, "Oh."
I recognized. Do you know what made me realize who it was almost immediately? Is I recognized the beard. It was the beard that saved.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say his clothes.
That too, but I think the scruff, the beard scruff, was what immediately was like, oh, okay, that's
move over
I know
a little
that
bit.
beard anywhere. So here's one thing about the interaction that you have with Luke, and I don't know if you guys noticed this too, because several people had pointed this out to me, not only in the comments but also with private messages, is that people thought that Luke was acting a little strange during the scene. And yes, he said that he was tired and he didn't have didn't sleep for days, but people were very afraid that there was more to it than that, because they claim, as they compare still images of Luke in that scene versus other scenes, that he looked really pale. And so people were thinking, did Luke get bitten? Like,
that's what I was thinking, that because he had like the inset eye. He looked everything looked something looked just he
looked off.
Yeah, he looked off, like comparing what he looked like and how like Lee started looking at the end of his.
Yeah,
like,
he had discoloration.
Yeah, I know that. You're right. When I think about Lee, he had he's starting to build it up right here. And what was really nervousing to me is like Luke kept falling like that a bit. And I'm like, you okay there, buddy? You okay? And he's like, oh no, I'm just tired. I was like, you seem a little pale. I mean, I've never heard a case scenario where you get really pale from sleeping. So I started to suspect he was bit. And his little, I'm sleepy, I haven't rested days, was not really true. And I'm starting to...
I don't know, I don't mean to play I guess I do mean to play devil's advocate a little bit, because I don't want him to be bit. But it is true that, like, sometimes when you don't get sleep, you get sick.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, maybe he's like...
I could believe that.
Yeah.
I don't believe he's bit either. He's just very, very, very sleepy.
Yeah.
But,
I've been following these guys for how long, and not slept, not eaten.
I probably would have. I wouldn't have been pale, but I would have been super sleepy and just passed out like that.
Do you guys think that Luke is the kind of person who would hide it if he was bitten?
No, I don't think so.
Well, David says no. I'm not sure. I would like to say no too because I don't think. I think when I want to kind of compare this, I think Luke and Lee could have like the similarity where you have the option to tell the truth, like you got bit or not. I think Luke would be the one who would choose. Yeah, I've been bit. I have to admit this.
Mm.
I think he would be the kind of guy to tell.
And I think of all people, he would tell Clementine.
Yeah, perhaps, yeah, because I'm trying to think, because he was there, he stood up for you when people were thinking that you were a bear or something. Like, I feel like that bond would have been there somewhere.
The big brother, little sister bond?
Yeah.
Perhaps, yeah.
You were saying something, Kathleen?
Well, I don't know if this isn't like technically related, but I just love that there was the option to like hug him at the beginning.
Yes.
Like all of the Clementine hug scenes in this, like I picked all of the hug options.
Oh, yeah.
And it was adorable. And like the Kenny hug scene.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually,
Clementine hug.
I just want to find a scene where you can hit Luke. It would have been so fun.
Oh yeah, because you could have slapped him or something. I think I just asked him, where were you?
No.
I don't think I necessarily...
Like seeing Clementine hug people. It's so adorable.
I was still... I think what happened was I was still remembering what you guys were saying in the last episode or whatever, when I remember like some of you guys were debating whether Luke was really all he seemed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like if he was all that nice or maybe he was on the other side of things. So I didn't necessarily hug him, but I was like, why didn't you, what happened? Sort of deal.
I will admit, I hugged Luke because I feel there is a connection between Clem and Luke, but at the same time I felt like I wanted to punch him because he I know Angel just giving me that look. I wanted to punch him because he had been missing for so long, and he looked so pale, and he grabbed me, and I know I got freaked out. I said, "Don't scare me like that."
Yeah.
I wanted to punch him for that, but
I haven't seen what happens when you choose punch, but I'm assuming it's like a playful punch, not necessarily a,
Oh, I'm gonna
not
look it up.
necessarily.
Like knock him to the
I
ground.
don't
Yeah.
know. Clem's capable
That's
of some
true.
pretty hardcore stuff.
I'm gonna look this up just to be sure.
But before the responses even popped up onto the screen, I remember during my Let's Play that I said, "Oh my gosh, it's Luke! Can I please hug you? Can I please hug you? I can hug him!" Like that was my reaction. Yeah.
You're like a little fanboy there.
Yeah, just a little bit.
For me, I was like, I just like feel sometimes as though I'm in Clementine's perspective, but also sometimes I feel like I'm through the adult's perspective,
Yeah.
like taking care of Clementine, and that was one of those moments where I was just like, I just want to hug you and like tell you everything's okay,
Aww. Yeah, I know.
And then, so then he gives us the lowdown of his plan, his master plan here, which
Yeah.
sort of overlapped with my plan, but not entirely.
Right.
Oh yeah,
To get the
I
radios.
looked it up. It was a playful punch. She just goes like on his chest, like that. Like,
Aw, she's trying to be aggressive.
and she said, "What took you so long?"
Yeah, what took you so long? Yeah, that's what I envisioned. Was like more like a, you jerk, what took you so long? Or,
I thought there was going to be like
Clementine's
a
there.
slap or something like
I wanted that to be too like, ow, what was that for? You scared me.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I thought it was going to sound like that or something.
yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, I've ruined the moment now that I saw that.
It's all good, it's all good.
But
Go ahead.
I want to know, like, I was a little worried on the scenario that Luke's asking you to get the radio now, and he's still trying to like tell you this, and he just passes out. I'm thinking, oh boy, how do I pay attention to this while still keeping my guard up? How do I do this? And I want to know, like, what did everybody think about Luke's plan? Because you later hear another plan, and I think they either coincide with each other or they're completely against each other. Like how they should approach it.
I thought his plan was the most logical. I mean, I had to give him credit for being able to sneak into the camp.
Yeah.
Like, that takes some serious skill.
Yeah.
So I thought like a whole sneaky way of going about it was probably the smartest choice, especially because the camp was really big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You could definitely no way we're going to be able to just, brute force our way out
Yeah.
Yeah.
in the current situation.
Yeah.
I was a bit nervous about the radios because I would figure if anything, Carver would have a very tight hole. I didn't think getting the walkie-talkies was going to be that easy.
I thought
I thought they were gonna be like locked up, or because I thought he was gonna keep very close tabs on them. I was actually surprised how easy it was just to find them. It wasn't until he found one of the walkie-talkies that he even knew that you took them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they keep underestimating Clementine, and it's one of her strengths. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
They depend on a little girl for so many things.
Just a little girl, you know.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Some a little bit more snarky than others.
I just love like when you the Luke and the comic book scene. I just love how it ends though. Like when and how it begins. Like when you hug him and then when you leave. I just love how just Troy pops out of nowhere and he's like, "Hey, what you doing in there?" And then like, I got to come up with this. Comics. I was at the comic book store. There was a lot of comics in it. Like, well, no shit.
Oh, I didn't know. I said I was hiding.
Did you say that?
I didn't think he would buy that. I didn't think he would buy that. I was just looking at comics. Apparently he does. That's good to know.
Oh my god.
He's not very smart, Troy.
What did you say?
No, all I did, I just said I was hiding from walkers.
Oh.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
What did you say? Angel,
Oh, to Troy, you mean?
Yeah.
I ended up just choosing I was reading comics inside the comic book store, which I actually found it kind of symbolic that Clementine ended up happened to meet Luke in a comic book shop, because that whole conversation, I think, was when you started getting some hope, like, okay, this might be a way out of the situation. And comics, a lot of them, when they were made, back in the early
like
days,
the 30s and 40s.
Right, was during a time when there was a lot of issues in the world, especially when it came to war. And the reason why they were so popular was because these comic books gave hope to the people. The comics had a chance for people to escape from real life and believe in these characters that saved the day, the heroes that were able to prevent horrible things from happening. And so, I don't know, I thought that was really fitting, that was, of all places they could have possibly met, that was where they met. So.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were about to say, like, Luke was in the comics in The Walking Dead. I was, like, thinking, I don't think he was. No. But, the comics have to be the one to save the day, or they have to put the comics.
So then we leave Luke and Troy, and then apparently Carver wants to speak with Clementine, and then that's where we run into Wyatt. He does his thing. If you saved him, Rebecca's comes out crying, and then if you had saved Alvin, you know why, because he's in that chair, completely beaten.
I wanted to ask Kathleen, what happened when you didn't save Alvin? What did you see that was different in your scene?
Did you see
Which specific scene are you guys talking
about?
about?
When you walk into the office.
Walking to see Carver, when you're first going to see Carver to talk to him.
And then you look to your left and you see Alvin. Like, did you notice Clem do anything different?
No.
He wasn't there.
Was Rebecca coming out of Carver's office crying? Did you see Rebecca? Do you remember?
Yes, she came out of Carver's office crying.
Okay.
Okay, so everything at that point is safe.
It's still the same. Okay.
But I actually was scared. Like, I don't know what everybody else's opinion is. I want to know what David's later is, because he's the lore master. I was super scared when I saw Alvin in that chair, because if you looked at him, he was beaten to a pulp. He was bloodied. He was out cold, and they said, "Oh, he passed out." I'm thinking, are you sure he passed out? I'm a little worried if he didn't pass out. You better have, like, handcuffs on him, just somewhere, just to be safe. But I really was worried for Alvin in this scene. Like,
yeah.
Really, is he dead or is he alive?
Yeah.
When you saw that blood on him, at least.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you guys explain this a little bit for me, and those of us who haven't played that scene? So you walk in, and he's in a chair, and he's obviously been tortured by the Carver.
Correct.
Is that what I?
Like he looks like pummeled. He beat him to within an inch of his life. It looks like.
Pretty much.
But he's not dead yet.
Yeah, but he definitely could pass as being dead It could have.
Oh, yeah.
He definitely looks like he could have been beaten to death, and
That's what I was scared about right there.
And I think Carver makes a mention to Clementine.
Oh yeah, he says like, oh, if you just stay in that chair and be nice, otherwise you'll get to be in that chair over there, gesturing to Alvin.
Right.
He makes a threat at her about.
He threatens. Yeah.
That makes sense because he does say something about the chair she's sitting in, but it didn't make much sense. I mean, it was a completely interesting conversation, and I'd like to hear. Actually, when I was playing it, I wanted to ask you guys a question, and like I thought about this, and I was like, oh, I want to ask you this about what you think about his perspective on Clementine, because he says in the scene that he says you are more like me than you know, and I took a very stubborn approach to him during that scene, and defied everything that he said, and was just really snarky and not really snarky, just like really like forceful, like. I am not going to listen to you, and I'm not going to be manipulated by you type of...
Snarky Clem returns.
Yeah. But, like, I wouldn't say, like... It was more of, like, an empowered scene, I think, like, her taking charge, and even though, like, this adult is trying to loom over her and say that... and try to manipulate her, but I would like to hear what you guys thought about, like, what he said about them being alike.
I was afraid, not going to lie, because I didn't... Because even I don't really, at that point, I didn't really know the full extent of what I was capable of.
Mm-hmm.
So I was afraid that he was right in those regards. And again, that'll again I'll come back to that again when we get to the end of this, because that was another big trigger moment in this episode, was that conversation. So first it was the punishment of Sarah, then it was this conversation. They'll all keep going, but I was. Again, I said I was brown. I was trying to. I told him what I wanted him, what I think he would want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to stay on his good side throughout that whole conversation, because perhaps if he takes a liking to me, then he might be more lenient on me and my friends as a result of that. As if he feels like he wants to owe it to me if he expects me to carry on whatever legacy he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of deal.
Yeah, for me it was just, I've said it before, I can't take him seriously after like the two other conversations I've had with him. So everything he says is like just goes in one ear out the other, because I can't take him seriously. I just think he's like, sure, he's trying to empower himself, but it just comes out so pathetic to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm afraid what he'll do, because he's unstable. Like I mean, he wants to be like the dominant one, and if he doesn't get what he wants, he uses force to get it. Or dominates in other ways. But it seems so super, almost naive.
Yeah.
And pathetic. I can't take him seriously when he starts talking about, oh, you're gonna be like me one day. I'm like, no, I don't give a shit. Sorry about the words. I don't care.
Could you imagine Clementine just staring right in the face, just sound like,
that's
music picks up.
Go,